Folks, this is Dr. Brian King, once again coming to you from my studio here in Dallas, Texas. And I'm not positive, but I think this might be my last podcast from this spot, from this sheet. We are moving. We're leaving Dallas. It's been a great run, but in about a month, we will be taking off and relocating somewhere else. And then, of course, we'll continue to tour and travel, but, home base is going to be a little different. I had reached out to a few creatives that I had met throughout my time in Dallas, and thought about people who I would really like to get to know better and explore a little bit more on this format. And one of the first names to pop to mind was Surtzy.
I'm here, I'm there, I'm everywhere. Booze, women, and booze. I'm here, I'm there, I'm
Hello. I want to say thank you so much for. Do I look at the camera?
You can look at the camera, you can look at me, it doesn't matter.
It's an honor to be on your podcast.
Well,
this is
thank you.
exciting. And I'm really sad that you're leaving, but I'm excited to hear about your journey.
I'm kind of sad that I'm leaving too, actually. It's bittersweet,
Yeah.
We love Dallas, but we also need to leave,
And maybe with more trees, it'll be easier to breathe.
I would say that you're like a generally creative person.
It's like impossible to describe what I do because like last week or a week and a half or something ago, I got a sewing machine. So now I think I'm a designer.
So you like whatever this week's hobby is, basically.
And then I'll like really get immersed. Like I've been like studying how to make different stitches and like different fabric materials, how to take care of them and stuff. And like if I get a violin, it'll like go like that.
What came first, like this creative side of you or the more academic sociologist side?
Well, the creative side came when I was 4, and I don't know. I think I did go around looking at rocks and asking them questions. So I think it was like around the same time.
Okay, so you were surveying, you're writing little sociological demographic questionnaires of rocks. But tell me about your creative stuff. Starting at 4?
Yeah, when I was 4, my mom needed a model, and she.
And what was your mom?
She's a photographer.
Okay.
And then she also really likes styling. So she would have like a bunch of cute heels and stuff, and she would throw them on me, and that was really clumsy. But she would take pictures of me and stuff. Yeah, and she, I really like the camera, so that's kind of how it started. So,
and then from the age of 4, and then I'm assuming you kept modeling for?
Well, I took a break with school. It's like really time consuming, I think, to be in middle school. I think that's when I took the longest break. But then people just kept asking me to model, and a bunch of businesses were just like, we need a model, and it just kept happening over and over again.
Wow, what kind of businesses?
It's like a lot of like boutiques.
Okay, like
I did some teeth modeling for a little bit.
Really?
What is that called? Toothpaste and stuff like that.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So like you just hold the brush close to your mouth and they just
stuff like that.
Tight on the mouth. That's interesting. What was that for?
I think it was Philips, Sonicare, and stuff like that.
That was just still pictures, or did you like a video?
Videos, like commercial stuff.
Was that national?
I don't know. It's hard to know where they end up.
Yeah. So you started at a young age, and you started carrying this out. Now, teeth modeling. That's one I have.
I don't really
you do have nice teeth. Now you say it, I'm like, it's like one of the most prominent features about you.
Thank you.
See, it's something about being on a podcast with a psychologist. It just brings about these repressed memories.
It was like a long time ago. Where did that come from?
So, modeling, I know you dabble in photography and video art and other things. So tell me about...
I think the photography is a mixture of anthropology, because a lot of the architecture I'll look at and be like, why did they choose to use these designs for this house? And it kind of just like turned into, wow, that's a good angle. Yeah.
And we talk about anthropology and psychology. So you actually went as far as getting like a master's degree.
But
in
not
both?
in anthropology. I did the anthropology for my undergrad, and then sociology for the master's because it was easier.
How do those tie into your creative pursuits?
I think I see different perspectives and like different angles of. I don't know. I wish I could get inside somebody else's mind and see how they see things, and then that might help compare it.
So like the cultural impact of this. And,
I like focusing on different like unique areas though. Like when people have certain jargon, I like to like write poetry in certain ways that would reflect. I don't know. That's really like specific.
I don't know, but I think we need to add poet to the list of...
Poet, aerialist.
Aerialism. Is that silks?
Lyra and pole, flying pole. And then
you have to explain these things.
Lyra's like a circle, and it hangs from the ceiling.
Okay.
And it's really scary. It spins really fast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's fun.
And the pole?
Yeah, it's like a stripper pole.
Okay.
And then also a flying pole where it moves. And then I tried trapeze, which was really fun, but I'm not there yet.
Wow. Where'd you do these?
The Dallas Circus Center for the trapeze. And then Shine. But now I just have one at home.
So wait, you have a stripper pole at home or a Lyra?
A Lyra.
Lyra?
Yeah.
Right. And how do you hang from the ceiling? Is that?
Well, it goes on, it's like an A-frame kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you can connect it to the ceiling, but I don't want to do that. It's too risky.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
I don't know if I trust the ceiling.
So I can't imagine having this big rig in your living room. I mean,
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Can you does it fold up and collapse?
Yeah.
Oh,
it can be taken down, but
you just leave it up.
Yeah.
How often are you practicing aerial stunts?
I'm supposed to be doing once every 3 days, but it's easy to not practice sometimes. But I'm doing a photo shoot tonight, and it's an aerial shoot, so it's going to be like my practice for today.
Are they coming to you and you're doing your thing? Or
we're going to go to a park for this one. I like the greens for
And you'll bring your Lyra out to the park?
It's pretty easy to it takes like 10 minutes or so. You should try it.
I will probably fall down.
That happens to everyone.
I don't want to say this in a way that sounds kind of offensive, but it seems like there's like it's like this week's hobby, and then this week is that kind of.
I would say they're hobbies, but they're more like obsessions.
Okay.
And then I'll just get really into it. And
so, what in these different artistic endeavors are you like the most serious about?
All of them.
Really?
There's no way I could be like, I'm just going to do one thing, because then I think they all nourish each other in a certain way. Like when I'm doing photography, eventually I'll revisit it and be like, I'm going to be a model for this spot or something. Or, I don't know. It'd be hard to pick. I mean, I guess I could go to the gym and not take pictures, but then who would know that I went? And stuff like that.
People got to know you went to the gym.
So then, so I'm a photographer when I do that sometimes because I'm doing it by myself. And then sometimes it's like dancing too.
Dancing? What kind of dancing?
I think it's called contemporary, maybe, or hip hop EDM. I don't know.
You take classes for that, or is that just kind of like you just go to the clubs?
Classes. I've done belly dancing classes and stuff, but and then contemporary classes, but I don't know what to categorize it as.
You definitely got this sort of creative spirit that you continue to pursue, and I like that. What about the sociology side? What's going on?
That's my backup. I just accidentally ended up getting those degrees because I like to read a lot, and then I just kept getting closer and closer, and then I was like, well, I might as well just take more classes. Those seem interesting.
Yeah.
And then I'm probably gonna get my PhD, and it's all very fun, but I don't know if I ever want to do an actual job with that kind of stuff because the schedule does not sound fun to me. It sounds depressing. It
depends on the job, I suppose. If you got, but I am somebody who got a PhD as a backup plan to creative work. It's true. I always wanted to be a comedian, and I said, well, or an artist, actually.
Yeah.
In the beginning, I just wanted to be like a visual artist.
What kind of visual art did you do?
I painted. I still paint, but as once I got more involved in the college, I really wanted to be a comedian, and I was like, well, who makes it as a comedian? The chances are pretty slim, and so I was like, oh well, I got this. I might as well just keep going with this degree.
Do people ever say a joke?
Yeah, all the time.
Do you think that?
I not really, because I feel like if you're going to tell, I don't want to, but if you're going to tell people you're a comedian and then you're going to feel pressured or on the spot when people say, hey, tell a joke. First of all, you've given them no evidence that you're a comedian. You can't just say, hey, I'm a comedian, and then leave it at that. Second of all, you've lost a potential fan. And so I wouldn't like some comics are like, oh well, I don't go to your job or I don't ask you to do your job for free. But the difference is that their job is like even if you flip burgers, right? You go into a burger shop expecting a guy to flip burgers, it's like there's no question about it. There's an obvious demand for somebody who's flipping burgers. There is no demand for you telling a joke or no demand. So you have to create the demand by telling people a joke. And say, hey,
appetizer.
Well, here's a joke. you want to hear more, you gotta come to my show, you know? So I've never been one of those people, although I'm not fucking telling a joke right now, all right? But I've never been one of those people, you know? And so, like, I don't know. The same could be true for something that you do, although it's kind of weird. But
For
you
me,
say,
it's
"Hey,
a mood thing.
I'm a model. I'm a model." Oh,
Yeah.
really? Strike a pose. You know, do people do that?
People want to take pictures with me all the time, and it really depends on my mood or how much caffeine I had.
Yeah.
Because if I'm in a good mood, I'll be like, yeah, let's take the selfie.
Yeah, of course.
Other times I'm like, hey, I charge for these pictures.
Right. Well, you should. You should be like, that'd be $10. You can Venmo me right now. Yeah, I think if the bigger your Instagram following, the more expensive your selfies
That's so
get.
terrible.
It's true.
I hate that. Like, I looked into agencies, and one of the questions is, how many followers do you have? And I think that's so weird.
Yeah, it's terrible. And I never really did much with Instagram. I never built a following. I'm a photographer, but I'm a comedian first, you know. And so, and then even comedy, they ask you how many Instagram followers you have, you know.
I think it's everywhere that's going to make money on how many people go in.
Now it's like everybody wants comedians to be posting reels all the time, you know. I started looking at old comic clips and creating reels out of them, and I was like, oh, this is too much effort.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just, yeah.
But there's people that literally have the title social media marketer or something, or manager or something.
Yeah,
so
you can hire
I think
them.
that's who is supposed to be doing that stuff.
Right.
It's impossible to do all the internet stuff on all the platforms, and then also still be like what you're supposed to be
Still
doing.
do the thing that you're taking pictures of. Yeah, exactly. It's like, when do you find time to take these pictures? And you're always editing and work. Yeah.
Like with modeling and aerials and stuff like that, I'm supposed to be spending a lot of time training, and sometimes I'm like,
yeah.
spending time not training.
Yeah. Well, with me too, it's like, it takes a long time to edit a video. You know, if I got to put up a video of a comedy performance, I first have to do the performance, then I have to film it, and if I want it to be a good performance, I got to have multiple cameras up, and I got to have good audio feeding through, and then I got to sync all that stuff into a central computer, and then edit it, and then find clips in that edit that are worth posting. You know, I mean, it's a time-consuming process. You know, so.
And it's like not fun sometimes.
Yeah, my social media is lacking lately, and my interest in social media is lacking.
Yeah.
But the podcasts are great, and YouTube is great, and so I'm still working on that. But then again, I'm not a model. You know, I don't get paid for my image. You know, and so you do. You know, so
I think everyone will eventually get paid for their personality or image, depending on what. But even with modeling, a lot of their personality and stuff is getting noticed. Like a lot of quotes and. It's like where I went to school and stuff. Like people are starting to see that. Whereas
where'd you go to school?
Or UK, University of Kentucky.
Okay.
And then I did UTRGV, the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley.
Oh wow, that is a huge distance. Which one was which?
Well, during my undergrad, I got an RV and I shaved my hair off, and then I was like, "Bye, everyone," and I thought it was done. And then I was like, "Oh, never mind." And then I went back to school. But by then I was already in South Texas because that's where my RV ended up. So I was like,
so you lived on the road for a little while?
Maybe like a year. It was really exciting sometimes.
Yeah. No,
Other times I was like, I'm at Walmart. How do I get home?
Right. I had a person on my podcast recently who lives out in an RV. She's a traveling freelance model.
Yeah, I think I saw her. Was it the one that you sent me?
Maybe. Christy.
Yeah, but I've seen her on a lot of forums.
She's everywhere. She's big. Yeah,
yeah.
She's got a huge following.
I love her nature stuff.
She
cool.
is and that's she does that because she's in an RV. Because she can find like these places and bring beautiful. Photographers out. Yeah. So that's a kind of a cool
like a
gig.
fun life.
Were you doing modeling when you were in the RV?
Kind of. It was more self-modeling because it was hard to know when I was going to be in a certain place. So it's hard to plan sometimes with that kind of stuff. But if I could organize it with a manager or something someday, I would totally do that.
Nice. And what happened to the RV? Nothing.
I don't want to talk about it.
Sorry.
I miss it.
Got washed up by the Rio Grande.
So long story short, I couldn't find a mechanic. And I tried, and I spent like $5,000 in small increments. And then eventually I was like, I'm just going to take the loss.
Wow, yeah.
Because it's hard to find mechanics for RVs.
Well, it's lucky that it broke down in the Rio Grande Valley because there was a college nearby.
Corpus Christi, but that's 4 hours away.
Yeah. There's a college nearby, and you're like, well, this didn't work out. Let me go see if I can get a master's degree.
Yeah. Well, I was like, let me just take a few classes.
Are you from Kentucky originally?
I was born there, but my family is from Venezuela.
Okay, all right. So you were born here, but your family immigrated here, right?
Yeah.
What part of Kentucky?
Lexington.
Wow. What brought them to Kentucky of all places?
I think it was the good economy.
Yeah,
there was like a few people that they knew that were already there, and they were like,
okay.
it's really nice. It's not a big city like Miami. They tried Miami,
Mm-hmm.
and then it was really bad, or at least if you like quietness, it's really bad.
Yeah. No, I got you. My train of thought takes me to touring. You, at least from social media, appear to travel almost as much as I do.
Yeah.
If not more.
Probably more.
Is that modeling related, or how do you get all around the world?
So my SO is also into traveling with his job,
Mm-hmm.
so it helps me a lot. And sometimes I'll take the advantage to go, and I think it's great.
Yeah.
But I wish I could travel more. I wish I could go nonstop.
Yeah.
I wonder how we're gonna do with the traveling once or if we start having kids, because that's gonna
You got
be...
some plans for that?
Well, I don't plan on ever...
Scoop on my podcast right here. Surtzy's going to reproduce.
So I'm pregnant. Just kidding. But the whole traveling or not traveling part, it's looming over me.
Yeah.
I have to come up with something, but I don't want to stop traveling.
Well, I will tell you this. Traveling with a young child is super easy.
Oh, I thought you were going to say terrible on the plane.
No, it's great. It's freaking great. I don't know why. I hear parents complain all the time, and I don't get it. I really don't.
Maybe it's the child.
Well, the child is a product of how you raise it.
Yeah,
You know?
that's true.
So, but I think okay. So I'll just list off the advantages. So they can sit on your lap,
Okay.
which you don't have to buy them an extra seat.
Mm-hmm.
Strollers and car seats get checked on airplanes for free, so you don't have to worry about that. Like, sure, you got to bring some excess stuff, but it doesn't cost anything. If you have a stroller and major airports, if there's lines and things, they'll cut you right up to the front.
Oh, that's really cool.
Like LaGuardia, like if you fly into LaGuardia, and you go to the cab stand, there's a long line of people waiting for a cab. Not you.
That's like a reason to have kids every 3 years.
I know. I assume you should always have an infant with you,
Yeah.
and especially if you're flying into New York.
Yeah.
No,
That's a good travel tip.
it's not terrible. It really isn't. And when they're that young, they don't need much. You don't have to bring a whole bunch of stuff with you. And then 2 or 3, they need a little bit more as far as toys are concerned, and they need their own seat, but. It's still it's not that difficult.
And then they're cute. Like.
Oh yeah, it's a perfect accessory when you're on the runway.
Very true.
We talked about teeth modeling.
Yeah.
I don't think that's probably the peak of your modeling career,
it's just like
has
one
it?
of those random things.
Yeah. What are some of the cooler and more interesting modeling experiences you've
Going
had?
to Milan Fashion Week, Paris Fashion Week, and then New York Fashion Week as a paparazzi was fun.
Yeah.
Those are like the highlights.
So were you modeling in Milan and Paris?
Yes, but then in New York I was a paparazzi.
You were like at the runway, or
Yeah, I was it was cool because I got like access to the front of the runway, and then a lot of the models liked my pictures, so I was like, "Yay, I'm a groupie."
Did you get published?
No, I didn't submit it anywhere. It was my first time doing that kind of thing, so I was like, I'm just gonna.
That's pretty cool though that you did Fashion Week and a couple of different
I kind of want
places.
to make my way through all those sides of the production eventually. Like, I was talking to people that do.
So
crew.
model to photographer to designer. Right?
Yeah.
You can even organize your own fashion show.
Yeah, that'd be cool. But I think it's still fun to see what other people make.
Yeah,
And
of course.
it's always like if you add a different person, it's maybe a different production.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But the designing, it's cool to. I still need a lot of inspiration from people. I
Mm-hmm.
can't really just magically think of designs.
One thing I do like about you is that if you get an interest, you pursue it. Get a little wired, a little bug in you, and you just want to
It's
kind
like
of create.
curiosity or something. I wonder what it is, because I've tried to pinpoint it, and I'm like, it's like a lot of like a jolt of energy,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's also curiosity and like.
Do you have ADD?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Is it that?
It's kind of typical that people have ADD.
But where does the energy come from to do
Well,
it?
I mean, the energy comes from your just general energy level.
Yeah,
I
but do most people not want to do stuff?
Yeah, no, most people. How many people write books?
But why not?
They don't really want to.
Why?
That's just it. Because they don't have that drive.
I don't get it. From a psychological standpoint, why don't people make things?
I feel like you should write.
Stories?
Yeah.
I have to write my life story. one of these days.
What's
But that one's really a dedication.
Growing up in Kentucky.
Yeah, I was thinking of like each chapter, different age.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll probably do like something like that. How many books have you done?
4.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's a good amount.
Yeah, I'd like to write a 5th. I'm just waiting for the inspiration to hit. You know, I keep getting these ideas, and I'm like, "Ooh, that'll make a good book." And then I'm like, "No, I don't want to write that." But I feel like you have a book in you. What was it like growing up in Kentucky, coming from Venezuela or a Venezuelan family?
Being the only Hispanic was so annoying, but also cool because everyone thought I was hot, which has its benefits, but also is really annoying.
And it works towards the modeling, I would imagine.
Yeah, it definitely did help because I was like the only person in my demographic. So I got any gig I wanted pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
When I left, I was like, wow, there's food that I can eat, and there's like clothes that fits me and stuff.
Yeah.
Everyone there is like 6 foot tall. So
oh yeah.
shocking. Like blonde hair and blue eyed and stuff. It was just very different.
And you have we can't see them in this angle of the camera, but you are covered in tattoos. And like you even have tattoos on your head.
Yeah. Oh, I shaved.
Yeah.
Or I haven't shaved.
When did you start getting all the ink?
I think it was like 19 or so, or no, 22.
Mm-hmm. Is that sometimes an impediment to some of your modeling gigs?
Yeah, there's a lot of gigs where boutiques just want specific nothing noticeable.
Mm-hmm.
Like not even like acne and braces and stuff. When I had braces, it kind of like messed with some of my gigs too.
Yeah.
But with tattooing, it definitely puts you in like a alt style.
Mm-hmm. But I would imagine there's lots of people who are specifically looking for that too, right?
Well, for me, it's more like people pick me as a model because it's me.
Mm-hmm.
But if I were to have to compete with other people and they don't know who I am or anything, it would be really hard.
Is there a lot of modeling in Dallas?
I think it's more so acting, and it kind of crosses over because sometimes they'll be like, we need a model, and then they'll have you like do video shots, and that's basically like a commercial. Yeah, there's not enough, I think, for everyone to work full time. Most people have like a supporting gig or supporting job, I think.
Yeah. Do you do a lot of acting work?
Yeah, I've been trying to do a few, but it was like when I have time, I started applying for casting calls.
Yeah.
But that's the part that really. The whole casting call application thing is tedious. It
is. I will admit. And then, like, you have to self-record.
Yeah.
You know? Well, I think we're reaching the end of the podcast, Surtzy. One thing I didn't ask you is, where's the name come from?
It sounds that I liked. Also, I wanted to be able to Google myself, so my regular name is generic, and it's like John Smith, so I would never find it.
You don't look like a John Smith.
Yeah, I was like, I don't want to be John Smith anymore. I'm going to be Surtzy.
Yeah. Do you have a Surtzy tattoo?
No, actually I do.
Do you? Really? Oh, you straight up lie to me? Right? Where is it? Oh, wow. Oh, man, we got to take a picture of that for the thumbnail.
That's it.
Wow. But you know, you can only read that in the mirror, though, because you can't, like, pull it out
Yeah,
and
it's
look
like very
down.
specific. It's mostly for my dentist.
So he knows who you are.
Yeah.
He doesn't mess
Just
up.
in case.
Yeah. Surtzy, how can people find out about you and follow you and all that other good stuff?
Surtzy. Just Google that and you should be fine.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. And it was a delightful interview. Thank you so much.
Fun.
I hope you had a decent time. Hey, folks. That's been another episode of On the Road with Dr. Brian. Thanks for checking me out. Thanks for subscribing. And make sure you check out Surtzy, too. She's a very entertaining character. Thanks a lot.
Drink
Bye-bye.
water.
I'm here, I'm there,
Excellent.
I'm
Thank you.
everywhere. Blues, women, and blues. I'm here, I'm there, I'm everywhere. I'm an asshole, I'm